Tree Talking Time is brought to you by Conkey's Outdoors. Get all your hound hunting needs at conkeys.com. Welcome to Tree Talking Time, where we talk all things tree dogs, from the smallest feists to the largest hounds, treating squirrels to bears and everything in between. And from time to time, we might even run a little fast game.
Oh, you got a story in mind over there, old buddy?
No, I don't know. I've got so many I can't even.
Yeah, but most years got necks in front of them.
Yeah, there's a few of them. I think on one time, me and Chuck was, I just got a new place to hunt, and we cut in there, and we were hunting iPod at the time, and iPod gets treed, and we go in. There's a nativity scene there where old iPod's treed right in the middle of the woods, and so we got the picture of Joseph with the gun and iPod tree in the background, and Chuck standing between Mary and Joseph. So.
I caught Jody at work, and she says, "What did you guys find, and where are you at?"
That's funny.
And we had the rifle leaning against Joseph. So I said, "Well, while we were here, Joseph wanted to knock that squirrel out."
Yeah, one weird thing I found a couple years ago was like multiple chairs, like desk, like old style, like classroom chairs with a desk on them.
Yeah.
In the woods, like set up, and I was like, "This is weird."
Yeah, I found a lot of stuff hunting. I found East Wing hammer hanging in a tree one time. I found a new, looked like brand new rangefinder. I found quivers of arrows.
Wow.
Yeah. One time I thought I'm walking, I see looked like a handgun, like a 1911 laying, and it's like, ooh, that could be bad out here in the middle of the woods. And I walk up, but it had an orange end on it. So.
Some kids lost it playing.
And it was in the middle of nowhere. I don't know what. Yeah, so I didn't know kids got out that far anymore. So
I've stepped on more arrowheads hunting, and Ronnie's right behind me, and then he picked up the arrowhead.
Yeah, I've done it.
Yeah, he's found a lot of them. I said, "Ronnie, the squirrels are in the trees." He said, "Yeah, but the arrowheads are on the ground." So I guess he was right.
There you go.
Yeah, I've found a lot of them. Me and Blake was hunting one day, and I'd found like two days in a row, and Blake, he's never found one, and he's walking in front. We were right across, actually, on Chuck's place, right across the road from Chuck's house, and I go, "Blake, you ain't gonna believe what I just found." He goes, "Yeah, another arrowhead." I go, "No, it was Ben Franklin 50-cent $50. So
that's pretty cool.
Old farmer's probably out there working on his tractor at one point. And,
yeah,
and it was in standing corn. And I found a $50 in a standing cornfield. So
that's funny. So it's Saturday of Autumn Oaks. You know, I'm out here with the Jukebox guys. You guys are gracious enough to sit down with me again this year. We sat down last year. We talked about the whole Jukebox story, but we didn't cover a lot of stories. You know, you guys have, for crying out loud, you got how many? 37 world champions now.
37.
And you know, it takes a lot of time in the woods to make sure you have to get there. So that's why I figured you guys have some more stories to tell about these Jukebox dogs. So. Definitely wanted to get you guys back on.
We've been in a long time, that's right, and we walked a lot of miles. But if people ever realized how many times me and Ronnie quit hunting because we were mad at a dog, we quit hunting a whole bunch of times, and but we just stuck with it. And sometimes we work the dog through it, and he goes on to be something, and sometimes it doesn't work out so good for the dog.
Wore out some hats.
Yeah.
Swatted my leg.
Ronnie, this is kind of funny. We had a dog called Bondo, and he was one of the prettiest tree dogs we've ever had. And he was a really good dog, but he found a way to get under Ronnie's skin, and we're laughing about something you guys don't know, so we're going to keep it that way. And we'd cut the dogs loose, and this dog would cut to the woods, and he'd always look
at me.
He'd always look back at Ronnie. And
he could be running full bore, but he'd look back at me.
And Ronnie take off his hat, and he'd say, "Get in there!" And the dog turned around and started running. Well, he may look back, and Ronnie'd holler, he'd slap his leg with that hat, "Get in there!" One time we dumped loose on this lane. There was a hay field right beside it, and the guy had his hay rake sitting there, and And Ronnie hollered at the dog once, and he kept going. I mean, he would go hard, and when he'd run, he was going hard. He turned around, looked back at Ronnie. He ran right in that hay race. Ronnie did a touchdown dance out there. He said, "That's what you get." He crashed and burned and squealed and hollered, and Ronnie was just happy.
Yeah, Bondo was the dog you were hunting back when I lived out here.
Yes, he was a tree dog.
I never hunted with him.
He was one of the prettiest dogs we ever had, too.
Yeah.
I mean, he
was a little different looking.
Yeah, he was
almost a liver color.
Yeah, like a liver colored dog, and he was the runt in the litter.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he grew up to be.
He was a good sized dog.
Yeah, he was. You know,
good mouth, tree dog. I mean, you could set a bomb off on that dog. He wasn't pulling. Me and Chuck one time, there's an oak tree about the size of one of these here, and we were going into him treed, and he's treed, and we're getting close to him, and all of a sudden, that squirrel run down the tree, right, and jumped like right before. He's up on the wood, and that squirrel got right above his head and jumped over him, and Bondo takes off after, and all of a sudden, he comes back and goes back on the tree. I go, what? You know,
Ronnie goes, "What do you think? Why do you think he quit?" And I said, "Fear."
He's seen me, and
he realized that I'm off that tree, and
that's not where I'm supposed to be.
And he was close to the squirrel. It wasn't like the squirrel was 100 yards away. And I mean, he's on this squirrel's butt. So, but yeah, I'd rather have him like that. So.
Yep.
But I got so many stories. I hunted with Blake the last 6 years, so you know.
Those are all X-rated. We can't even talk about those.
Yeah. One thing we were joking about yesterday, Blake, you know, like one of us get in the truck, you know, I always try to watch a Garmin to see, you know, hey, maybe I can drive down here and pick him up. Well, if you were a mile away from Blake in the truck, he was looking at Facebook or something.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
So you were kind of stranded.
That's funny. Where's Blake at?
They left yesterday. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. He just had a new baby and stuff, and yeah.
Good deal. Chuck, you told me a story last year after we recorded. A couple days later, we were talking on the phone, and I forget the whole main thing, but it was like just this unbelievable hunt you had with Jukebox.
God, I'm trying to think.
Because you're like, I didn't tell it because people wouldn't believe me, but it was a great story.
If you're thinking about the one that we were in a hunt, I hunted with Laddie Huntsman, and it was down in out of Elnora, and I never hunted with Laddie, and he said, you know, he goes, he heard about me a little bit, and I heard about Laddie a little bit, and he said, I really want to see this dog go, and so we had a day, and I mean the squirrels were moving, and I think that I can't remember, but it might have been a 3-hour hunt back then. I'm not sure. It could have been a 2-hour, but I think it was a 3. And we had a heck of a hunt, and I'm not kidding you. Jukebox just put on a show. Everybody wants to brag about their dog and this and that, but and a lot of the people that are hunting now never got to hunt with him. There's a lot of good talk, and you got some negative talk, but the people that went with him could really judge him the best. And I mean, that dog, we cut him and he got treed, and he had a squirrel, and we cut him and he got treed and he had a squirrel. And the hunt's just about over, and we kind of walked on up top of this bluff, and we were looking down over this bottom, and he was laying in the water. He was barking, he was treeing, and we just walked up on top. We could look down there and see him, and he was laying in the water, and water was about 3/4 way up his back, and he was just laying there barking. And Laddie started laughing. He said, that dog has caught squirrel fever. He said he's plumb out of his mind. He says, Chuck, he's just barking. I said, you know, Laddie, if I didn't see that dog, I'd tree him. And I said, I'm going to tree him. He says, don't do it. He said, I want to walk back to this clubhouse. He says, Chuck, I've never seen a scorecard like this. And he goes, I want to tell everybody you never drew a minus, and this dog did it right and all that stuff. And I says, but he's telling me he's treed. And I says, I'm going to tree him. He said, I'm not going to let you. He was a judge, and he carrying the pencil. He goes, I'm not going to mark it down. I says, laddie, tree him. He says, no, I didn't hear you right. I says, tree him. He says, he's treed. So we started down to him. It's going to take us a little bit to get where he was at. And we got down there, and we're walking in, and we're sloshing through some of the water. It was kind of wet down there. And he looks up, and he says, don't anybody move. And about probably 10, 15 yards away was a big oak tree, and he goes, there's a big red laying in the first crotch. He said, look at his tail. He said, that dog never put his feet on the tree. He never smelled that tree. He just winded that squirrel, but he laid there that whole time in that water and treed. And when we got back to the clubhouse, Laddie told the story, and there was a dentist that asked us to go along on the hunt, and he said he didn't know us from Adam, but he wanted to see the dog go, and he said, if you guys ever get a chance to hunt with this dog, hunt with it. And that's the best compliment you can get. You know,
Yeah.
Somebody else talks about your dog rather than yourself, but since we're in this podcast, I guess I got to talk about him.
Well, yeah, because I didn't get to hunt with him, so I can't brag on him. I mean, I hunted with Charlie, and I bragged on him last time because the one day I hunted with him, he put on a clinic. But, that's about my extent with some jukebox dogs. I hunted with Charlie like 2 or 3 times, and then some stuff off of your dogs. Like, I hunted with a jukebox daughter a good bit and granddaughter, but the only dog out of your kennel that I've ever actually hunted with was Charlie.
And, you never appreciate what you have while you have it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the truth. It's time goes so fast, and even all the years me and Ronnie been together, it's don't get me wrong, it's not that we don't appreciate what we have, but we don't understand sometimes what you have.
Mm-hmm.
And it's years down the road, or if you're still comparing dogs to one of the best dogs you ever had, then you got a pretty good yardstick. And that's kind of where you sometimes find yourself that but we've had some good times. I mean, a lot of laughs, and we don't do this because it's a job. We do it because we want to. And a good dog can really make you happy, and that good dog can probably still really make you mad.
That's very true.
Ronnie and I can go out and that dog could treat 10 squirrels in a row. And the last one, it was like he struggled, or maybe, it was an old track, and instead of talking about those 9 good ones, all the way home we're saying, what do you think he was doing on that last one? What happened there? And
terrible.
it's like we get a little critical sometimes, but
people that are critical at the same point tend to have better dogs because you're able to see your dog's flaws. So,
well, we don't lie to each other. It doesn't get sugar-coated back there. You told us we got to be careful about our cursing and swearing, and sometimes when me and Ronnie come back or we're talking about it, sometimes we kind of really say how it is some days.
Yeah, I don't have much of a filtration.
Ronnie doesn't have a filter anymore. Not much. He does not have one.
Yeah.
Yeah, like he said, you look back, we lost Pod Monday. I didn't even tell my daughters or my son. I didn't want to talk about it.
That's the iPod dog. We call him Pod.
And I didn't post anything on Facebook because it was tough. I mean, I don't get attached to too many of them, but that, and my daughter actually called me and crying. Her mom must have told her, and I was like, I didn't even want to talk about it. That was my buddy, and he was good to me and Chuck. So threw a lot of good dogs. He was 12 years old.
Okay.
But he had pancreatic cancer, so.
It's rough. These dogs don't live long enough, that's for sure.
No.
At least the good ones.
No.
I'm sure you've had a cull somewhere along the line that you kind of kept a little too long, and it felt like they lived forever.
Oh yeah, they might live forever.
Oh yeah, and they don't get hit by cars, and we've never had an ugly pup die. No, I go down there and there's 3 pups that are dead in this litter, and they're all trimmed out, and I mean they're the gorgeous one. I look over it and wonder how you made it.
Yep.
Jody and I, the dogs, they can make you a couple bucks and they can cost you a couple bucks. Ronnie and I were just talking. I guide a lot of pheasant hunts too.
Okay.
And I got a 6-year-old lab, and he may be the smartest dog I've ever had. I mean, this he's got the whole show. I'm not going to get into all the details, but we ended up having to take him to MedVet here in Ohio, and you walk in the door, and it's $1,000, and the CT scan is $3,200, and this other procedure. Well, we walked out of there with a $5,400 bill to tell us our dog had cancer. So that one was a big bite, and that kind of was a hard one to swallow. And we've got one of our labs, young guy, and we think a lot of him so far. And Trent, so take that dog home for the weekend, Chuck, and make Jody get her mind off it, because it just really crushed her. Mm-hmm. So we bring this young dog home, and we got a big pond, and he was just a dog all weekend and stuff. I woke up Sunday morning, and Jody was drinking a cup of coffee in the living room, and he come to me on 3 legs. Well, took him into the vet, and $2,100 later, he had an operation on his front leg.
Jeez.
So we're at about $7,500, and what we probably had to pour in pod the last 6 months or so, we're probably looking at about $10,000 in vet bills. So
you guys have had a major string of bad luck.
Yeah, that's
dog's health and vet bills.
But it's part of owning dogs.
Yep. So I know you guys have been a long time advertisers in Full Cry and everything. So what's your take on the new owners and coming back? And
well, I'm glad to see it.
I miss it. So
I mean, the social media, hey, that's a good thing, and maybe it's kind of a bad thing. And one thing about social media, I've never seen a bad dog on there. It's amazing. I mean, it's just everybody's got a good one. But Full Cry, God, we grew up, O.L. Beckman, and he always run a 2-page ad. And Art Kennard was up our way. He always run a 2-page ad. And, Hickory Nut Harry. Timothy Ball, there we go. There was another guy. And, Timothy Ball told a guy how to make money. You buy this dog, and he got some of the first people to have all the grand litters and stuff. And, I mean, those guys, I read ads and Cooner and Full Cry. It was just, I mean, it was a kid, you just dreamed about it. And going back to what I said, where maybe you don't appreciate where you're at the time or understand what you're doing, like Ronnie and I talked, if our grandpa could see what we have today, and he could see that, hey, we're in those magazines, and our dogs are the ones that other people are reading about. Mm-hmm. And, people come up to you and said, man, we've been following you guys for a long time. And, you don't set out to do that. It's just kind of something that happens.
Yeah.
And, but these dogs, we've shook a lot of hands because of these dogs.
Oh, I'm sure.
And, met a lot of people and laughed over the years, and good stories and a few bad ones. But I mean, Full Cry that was my go-to magazine. Mm-hmm. And they've been really good to me. I mean, Terry Walker, he was just tremendous. He had a lady named Edie, and Edie would help me set ads up, and then Edie left, and then there was Zena, and Zena walked me through everything. And one time we won 3 world hunts in a row. Now, I'm not bragging, I'm just telling stories, you guys. Mm-hmm. So just bear with me. But we did. We went to 3 world hunts, and Jukebox won all 3 of them. And Black Gold dog food, we've been with them for about 20 years. And John Allen, who owned Black Gold, was just tremendous. And we opened up our next issue of Full Cry, and Black Gold Dog Food put a full-page ad on us congratulating us. And then Full Cry put a column, and it said back, and you turn the page, it said to back, and then you turn the page, and it says to back world champions. Terry just said something that special needs to be looked at, and we had put a full page ad in, so it was really, really cool.
That is cool.
I was a lineman for the power company, and I got in a bad accident on a trouble call one night, and I got tied up in 7,200 volts. And the next issue of Full Cry, half-page ad, giving me a get well. That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
All I did was advertise. But I kind of got to know those people personally.
Yeah.
And, it's something they didn't have to do, but that was a pretty good get well card.
Yeah, definitely. Conkeys Outdoors is proud to be a sponsor of Tree Talking Time. Family, hunting, tradition is the Conkeys motto. They understand the importance of passing down the tradition of hound hunting. They are a family-owned business that treats you like family. They also understand the importance of having the gear you need when you need it. Conkeys carries everything for your next hunt, and it ships to your door quick. They also offer great warranties on all tracking systems and financing options. Check them out at conkeys.com. You can also use the code TreeTalkingTime5 in all caps to save as well. Well, I know I talked to the new owner, Jason Doobie, last night on the phone, and I was telling him that you guys want to do some advertising still, and he's like, yeah, make sure they get with me. The new one's about to come out next month, so they're putting it together. He's like, they're kind of waiting on me to get some pictures from this weekend to them.
It was kind of funny. I don't know if it was funny is the right word, but, when we heard that Cooner and Full Cry were no longer going to be, it was kind of a shock to everybody because there again, you don't appreciate what you had. I'm going back to that same thing I said earlier.
You're exactly right.
We got to read that magazine. It came every month. We took it for granted. Some months we read it more than other months, but we always had it. It was always there. And all of a sudden you wake up one day and it's like, are you kidding me? And that really was the talk with a lot of people on that. And then we heard that it was going to come back, and everybody thought that was a good deal. But, it's easy not to support something, and it's too late when they leave when you want to support them.
Yeah.
And so we're getting a second chance on this deal.
Yep.
And I hope people do support it so these guys can keep it rolling, and we got it back. And you don't.
It's a heck of a tradition to lose. It's been around since 1939.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I got a 1946 issue. Remember that I brought it up?
I didn't realize it was that old.
Yeah, it's old.
I got with Edie, and she got with Terry and something, and I was always jealous that Cooner had colored ads and stuff like that, and I worked on her, and she says, all right, we're going to try it one time. And if anybody's listening to this, I ran an ad, and I don't know where my copy is, when I think that's the only time, and I could be wrong, but that's the only time I remember that Full Cry ever had a colored issue.
I have a copy of one from, I want to say it was like the 90s. And I don't know if it was all color, but there is some color in it.
Yeah,
it was funny when Jason went to go buy it, he was asking me questions because I had some, he's like, I was a subscriber, I was writing an article. And I'm like, yeah, I have some old ones too. So he's like, send me some pictures of them. So I started going through some of my old ones, and I found one that had some color.
And it's been a while, and it might have been that issue, but I know the ads were in color. Maybe that's what it was, or I don't know how they did it. And but yeah, that was that was just a good magazine. I hope these guys have really good luck with it. And I know some people were upset, about I still had a couple months on this, and my script ran out, and I sound like didn't run out, and so I lost that. But in life, if I still got about 500-600 coon that I never got paid for, but I guess at $2 a piece, I got other stuff to worry about. If you would have got that when the fur house closed.
Yep. Yeah, it's a shame. You guys used to put up a lot of fur.
Oh, we did every year. Just the last 2 years,
He did.
Yeah.
You didn't put any fur up?
Oh, I used to help some,
but this is really funny. Me and Ronnie be coon hunting, and as soon as we get done coon hunting, I'd skin every morning.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a lot of mornings around. He just couldn't leave when we're skinning. Okay,
And I didn't sleep the day before.
Yeah.
So.
Oh yeah. I mean, but I'd say, Ronnie, just one more woods. And I said, I'll tell you what, you don't have to help skin. You help me unload these coon when we get home, and you take off and you go to bed. I said, let's just make one more dump. He'd say, all right, okay, deal. Well, we'd go in that one more dump, and we'd come back to the house, and he'd help unload. And he goes, I can't leave you alone. And so I'd lie to Ronnie, and he'd let me lie, and I kind of knew deep down he might stick around for at least a little while.
Yeah.
But that's just something I liked. I like to put up fur. I really did. I miss it. It's and now we put the squirrels up. We put them when we got different size mink boards, and we still put up all the squirrels.
Okay.
And we got an outlet. And,
squirrels are still worth something.
Well, not if you send them to MEPS. It costs you more to ship them. But we got a guy and we get a pretty good average, and he grades them. He doesn't have a hard grade, but he uses every bit. He shaves every short hair off that squirrel. He uses the tail, and he's got, even with the hide, the leather itself, he's got. I've never asked him what he does with that, but I kind of almost found out the hard way. I thought I was going to get arrested, and I saw on Fur Fish and Game one time it says, can you sell a squirrel hide? And in Ohio, it says the answer was no at that time. No, you can't sell a squirrel hide. You can sell the squirrel tail, but you can't sell the hide.
Huh.
So I called the DNR the next day, and I asked a guy who was there. He said he was there 36 years, and I asked him, can I sell squirrel hide? He says, no, sir, you can't. And I said, well, why not? And he said, well, you don't have a fur taker's permit. If you don't have a fur taker's permit, it's not a fur bearer, and you can't sell the hide. And I said, so I got to throw it away? He said, well, you can't sell it. That's what I can tell you. So I asked him, I said, well, can you tell me any other kind of animal that we sell that we can only sell part of it? I said, if I can sell the tail, why can't I sell the hide? And he said, well, that's just a rule. So I thought a little bit, and I said, well, how about a coyote? And I says, I don't need a fur bearer's tag to sell coyote hide, and it's a fur bearer. He says, well, okay, you got me on that one. And then he said, that's the only one you can do. You can't sell any other hide unless you have a fur taker's permit. I says, well, can I sell a deer hide? He says, how long have you been thinking about this? Yeah, you can sell a deer hide. And I says, well, go to page like 19 in your rules for this year and tell me what you see. I said, you got a pamphlet? He goes, right in front of me. He goes to page 19, and he says, what am I looking at? I said, see that father and son with that little rope, and they got all those dried hides in front of them? He says, yeah. I says, what are the third and the fourth and the fifth hide from the left? He said, oh, my God, they're squirrel hides. I said, well, it's right in your book, and somebody's selling them. He says, we got to look into this, and they changed the rule.
Okay.
I told him Davy Crockett invented that rule, I guess, and he says, maybe we need to look at it, and they did, and they changed the rule. That's good. Now we can sell a squirrel hide. Not that a lot of guys do it, but you can do it.
I didn't know you couldn't. It's kind of a goofy rule. Like you said, that you can sell the tail, but you couldn't sell the hide.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, he told me I put way too much time in that. I said,
well, when you put up as many squirrels as you guys do.
Not me.
Not Ronnie.
Yeah.
So you do a fair amount of coon hunting, though, too, right?
Yeah, I do some coon hunting. I just got buddies, around the house there. A few of them that hunt, and then I got friends from Ironton. They come up, hunt a lot, and yeah.
You hunt these jukebox dogs with their high-powered hounds?
Usually with the hounds, I hunt a hound. I have hunted them, but I don't like hunting. When I'm squirrel hunting, I don't like hunting on coon.
Yeah.
If I'm competition squirrel hunting, I don't want to go to a hunt, cast a dog at 7:30 in the morning. It's trying to gom up a old coon track. So,
yeah.
I'd rather. Yeah. So with them guys, it's just goofing around when they come up. So it's more laughing and
Yeah.
picking with each other and yeah. So
You better not get Ronnie in on those stories because we have to start putting X in front of them. But those guys are a blast, and there's a lot of laughing going on, and there's a lot of lying going on, and yeah, it was.
don't get me wrong, they've
They've
have
got
some
good
good
dogs.
dogs, real
They
good
do.
dogs actually, and yeah.
But they make it fun, don't
Oh,
they?
they
Ronnie?
make it a blast.
That's always fun.
Yeah.
It's.
I mean,
You're
they'll
always
drive
laughing
up
in the
here.
morning.
Yeah, they'll drive up here, hunt all night, and drive 3 hours and 3.5 hours home.
Wow.
Yeah, they do it. I'm like, you guys are nuts. Well, I've been down there. I go down there deer hunting every once in a while. I see why they drive 3 hours to coon hunt. I wouldn't cut a dog down there on a coon. I mean,
I was just recently down in West Virginia. I had Chuck and Adam Loudon, and I said I wouldn't own a squirrel dog here.
yeah.
I said the only way I'm walking up one of these hills is for a bear. I said
That's right.
I wouldn't even coon. I wouldn't coon hunt. Wouldn't squirrel hunt.
Yeah,
Maybe road hunt. But I ain't hunting the way you guys
Yeah,
hunt.
bear hunting. We can find an access road someplace where you can come back down to those dogs.
Yeah. Blake took Siri and high voltage down. He's going to hunt all week. It was a Thanksgiving, Thanksgiving weekend. So he left Thanksgiving evening, took Siri and high voltage down. He's going to hunt all weekend. Yeah, cool. So they go down there and they're hunting. Well, I hadn't talked to Blake, and that evening I give him a call. That was Friday. They got up Friday morning and hunted, and I give him a call. Or he gave me a call, I'm sorry. And I go, how'd it go? He goes, well, they treed 30 sometimes this morning, and dogs were never together. And I go, oh, that's good. He goes, no, it wasn't. He goes, no. He goes, you ought to see it. He goes, they were on one dog would be on one ridge and one dog would be the other. He said, finally, about halfway through this, we decided to split up, which helped. But he goes, I'm on my way home. He goes, I can't hunt down here all weekend. He said, they gutted me. So, yeah. It's rough down there. Them boys,
It is.
you make a dog down there, you worked. You know what I mean? Yep. So.
Definitely. No, I get it. I hunt where you guys hunt.
Oh yeah.
It's nice, relatively flat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's
The worst thing we got's deer. The deer has ruined a lot, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we're starting to get a little leasing, and it's just stuff,
yeah. I won't cut on deer hunters because I like to hunt, but man, a lot of stuff gets shut down because of the deer.
Yeah.
And it's not the only sport out there, and we all got to share, and we all got to get along, and especially during the rut and stuff like that. I mean, we're really careful where we turn out. I don't want to blow that guy's deer out of there, and you know what I'm saying. And that's not our intent. And we'll drive around the block. We got mile blocks where we live, so it's pretty easy for us to check. And, we don't always get it right, but I mean we do. We give it a good shot, and that guy. This is his big time of the year, and we try not to blow up for him.
Yeah.
one of my best woods I won't hunt from. I'll hunt it maybe a couple of times this month. I won't hunt till December. I give them a chance to get. And there's a big buck running around there. If they would have been with me squirrel hunting last year, they could have shot him twice. I mean, seriously. Walked right up on him 2 times. But
I've seen.
And there's people coming from all over around hunting this buck. So
Yeah, one of those ones, huh?
yeah, he's nice. He's a big boy. Of course, they hear a dog, all of a sudden they think, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
They don't understand.
And sometimes they really don't understand. They think if a dog barks in the woods that deer's never going to come back. But like I said, I don't want to cut on them. There's a lot of really good deer hunters out there that do it right. And, and like I said, we're kind of more into the dog sports, but we still respect the deer hunters. And we just asked for a little bit of it back if we screwed you up this morning. I mean, we've seen a guy in a tree, and the first thing we said, man, sorry, didn't know you were in here. But if my dogs run that big buck past him, and he was lucky enough to kill him, it was the scent lock, and it was the bow and the broadhead, and man,
Exactly.
and I don't blame him because I do the same thing.
And I even do the same thing up at public ground. I don't intentionally ever, if I see a vehicle there, I'm not going there.
Yep. No, and I think common courtesy and a little respect both ways is what it takes.
Yep. And is there time? Yeah. And you're in public ground, the dogs get in there, and hey, sorry, but it is public ground, guys. So
Yeah, exactly.
But I do everything I possibly can to avoid. I don't want to argue with somebody and make somebody upset, ruin their hunt. But yep. So I try to, and we try to avoid everything possible to do
Definitely.
that. But and the worst thing, you don't want to get somebody complaining about you hunting. He goes landowner if you're hunting private, and then pretty soon nobody's hunting. So it's best just to,
Yep.
Yeah,
it's especially when you have private spots. You gotta make sure you don't make your landowners mad. So
And last year I upset a guy, and I was going to the landowner's house to tell him, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't. The guy parked I couldn't see his truck, and he actually, and I went, and I actually met the farmer on the way out, and he goes, nope, you're fine. He goes, so, but I want to go to the landowner and say, hey, this guy, I didn't mean to upset him. I want to just kind of cover my butt and make sure But and
it happens.
Another thing around us, like we got patch woods, but when they sell a wood, especially if it's close to the road, it's usually split up 3, 4. You know what I mean? Yeah. It's and you lost a lot of hunting from when I was a kid.
I'm sure. Alrighty, guys, we need at least one more good story.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Now, see, you put us on the spot.
Yeah.
I told you 2 days ago this is what we were going to do. I gave you time.
Man, I'm the reason they invented name tags, so I know who I am in the morning when I put mine upside down on there, and then I look and I know who I am in the morning. I don't know if it's a good story, but it's going back to the full cry and going back how things used to be and how things are today. And if you don't know how things can change your life, good or bad, and for one cur dog to change my life and Ronnie's life and Mark's and Blake's been with us but one dog, one cur dog to change our life and to tell us that years ago we started. I think we were one of the pretty early ones where we started selling T-shirts. Okay, and we had T-shirts and sweatshirts, and Jody was the principal of a high school, and Ronnie's daughter went there, and we had more orders for shirts. They'd have jukebox day at the school.
That's pretty awesome.
Haley would take all these boxes of shirts to school and hand them out like they were Mohawk High School shirts, and the parents would call, and they had no idea what they were buying. They'd say, hey, do you guys sell the shirts that say jukebox on them? And we'd say they didn't know it was about a dog. But, kind of going back to what we said, man, maybe if our grandpas could see us now, that to where we started, to where we're at, and sometimes you got to sit back and, hey, we're sitting down with you guys. We're doing podcasts now, and we used to have to pay $250 for an advertisement. And, I like it doing this. It's a lot cheaper.
Definitely.
I mean, Ben, I was glad to meet you, but from where we were to where we're at today, it's been a good ride. We met so many people, and we got so many friends because of one dog.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? For us, it's just it's been for one dog, and he introduced us to this many friends. I mean,
Yep.
That's a pretty good deal.
That definitely is.
That's how we got to look at it. And when we're in the woods with them, yeah, it's competition. But you know what? At the end of the day, Ronnie and we're never been afraid to say, man, that guy's got a good dog. That is something really nice. And we don't have the only ones out there, and we know that. And there's a lot of really good guys and a lot of really good dogs out there, and there is. And you mentioned the Loudons, and you got Alan Franklin's, and we've been around these guys our whole life, and we're like lifelong friends. But our dogs mixed with theirs, and here we are. It's a good deal. Come on, Ronnie. You
Yeah,
gotta have
one story
another
I could.
fit.
I
There
hunted,
we
like I
go.
said, I hunted with Blake for 6 years. Trust me, and most of Blake's stuff he gets a lot on video, so we could actually show it if we could. But Blake, it don't matter if you. Blake finds everything funny when it happened to me. I mean, I fell one time. I fell backwards, looking up at a tree. My scope, I mean, Bennett, you could look around a corner with it, and that was funny. Brand new Vortex scope. But everything's funny. I'm walking across ice, it's cracking, and he's always videoing it, of course. So finally got him one day. We were hunting over by a railroad track split of woods, and it lays real wet there, and it's nasty muck. And, Blake's legs aren't very long, so he went to cross it. Well, he sunk, and he's sinking. And he's yelling, help, come here, Pap, pull me out here. Well, no, I had to video him I got the video out. I'm taking a video of this. But, yeah, I finally got my payback on him. But, yeah, everything's amusing to him. I mean, I fall quite a bit. And, yeah, everything's he'll laugh. I mean, you could be bleeding, and he's still going to laugh about it. And then he'll ask if you're okay later. But
Well, we'd go down the road with Blake, and you can't text and drive.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're coming back from where we're hunting and stuff like that. And Ronnie always let me ride shotgun. That was pretty nice. Ronnie's in the back seat. He'd say, put that freaking phone away. And, I mean, he constantly is hollering at Blake. He says, you need to settle down in the back seat. And one day he says, Blake, it's against the law to text and drive. He goes, that's because I'm just texting right now. I'm not really driving. We said, yeah, we can see that. Jesus, criminy. But, I mean, those two would scream at each other. And, yeah, Blake, he's the modern-day hunter.
He sent us a picture one time. He was running down a killdeer, and he found a woven wire fence. So he sends me a picture of a six-pack. It was his belly pushed up against the woven wire fence. I go, Lord.
I'm telling you what. He said, yeah, this is when I used to work out. And, I mean, it looked like he had kind of like a six-pack. And it was just absolutely hilarious. I mean, we don't have to make fun of Blake because Blake makes fun of himself, and that's a good thing. If you ever see a picture of Blake while we're talking about funny stuff, he wins a hunt or whatever it is, and the first thing I say, put your hat on straight. We finally
It's always crooked.
Yeah, always
it's crooked, and we finally realize it isn't the hat. The hat's straight. It's Blake's head's on crooked. That's the whole problem there. Yeah. But we've had a blast. I mean, God, what a ride have we had. I would love the hours that we hunt, but the hours we talk about dogs and talk to each other and to other people. Like, well, you're down here. We're down here, like you said, at Autumn Oaks. And the people, it's just nonstop. It's just, it's really been a great time.
All righty. Well, I won't hold you guys up much longer. So I really appreciate you sitting down with me this morning.
Well, thanks a lot, man.
Thanks
appreciate you, buddy.
You can find me on Facebook and Instagram at Tree Talking Media. And until next time, keep them talking in the timber.